tonight and declare, you are God alone.
From before time began.
You're on your throne.
You are on your throne.
You are God alone.
God alone.
And right now,
Right now, in the good times and bad, you are on your throne. You are God alone.
can the people of God who love him give him praise for that tonight? Oh, you're the only God.
You're the only God that's power.
None can contend.
None can contend. You're the only God who's made man. Praise will never end. You're the only God who's worthy of everything we can give. You are God, and that's just the way it is.
Come on, somebody help me declare, you are God alone.
Before time began, you are on your throne.
You are God alone.
God alone.
And right now,
Right now, in the good times and bad, you are on your throne.
you are God alone. You're unchangeable,
Unchangeable,
unshakable,
unshakable,
unstoppable. That's who you are. You're unchangeable, you're unshakable, unstoppable. That's who you are.
From before time began, you are on your throne. You are God alone.
And right now,
Right now, in the good times and bad, you are on your throne. You are God
do you believe that tonight? He's unchangeable,
unchangeable,
unshakable,
unshakable,
unstoppable. That's who you are. Come on, say it again. Unchangeable,
unchangeable,
unshakable,
unshakable,
unstoppable. That's who you are. Come on, somebody declare. Yeah.
unchangeable,
That's our God.
unshakable,
That's our God. That's who you are. One more time. Unchangeable. You're unshakable. Unstoppable. That's who you are. Do you believe that tonight? Do you believe that tonight? Can we make a declaration tonight? Can we make a declaration tonight? You're unchangeable, unshakable, unstoppable. That's who you are. Come on, say it. You're unchangeable, unshakable. You're unstoppable. That's who you are. Come on, somebody. Everybody declare, you are God alone.
From before time began,
You're on your throne.
you are
co-laborers, our bishop, those who travel and minister on the continent. Keep them, we pray. In Jesus' name. And the people of seats, we thank God for you, and we thank God for another opportunity to study Luke chapter 12. We're doing the parables. We had promised you that we would advance you what parable. So next week, just know that we're going to study the wheat and the tears. The wheat and the tears. That wherever that scripture is, look up that scripture for me. The parable on the wheat and the tears. That's for next week. But tonight, we're going to look at Luke chapter 12. And I want tonight 13 to 21. 1 to 13. Oh, Matthew 13, 24 to 30. That's next week. Matthew 13, 24 to 30. That's next week. So we will give you an advance to look at. For tonight's purposes, beginning at verse 13, and we will read in unison as if our screens are working, from Luke, and I think they have the amplified version. Are you ready? Let us read together. Ready, set, read.
Someone from the crowd said to him, Master, order my brothers to divide the inheritance and share it with me. But he told him, Man, who has appointed me?
Everybody read. Stop. And what I would like for us to do is, whether from your iPad or your phone or from the screen, if you have the amplified version, let's read strong together. From Buck, ready, set, read.
But he told him, Man, who has appointed me a judge of my and my right over you? And he said to him, Guard yourself and keep free from all covetousness. The immoralist desire wealth, the greedy love of money. For a man that does not consist in and is not derived from possessing that which is over and above these. Then he told them a parable, saying, The land of a rich man was fertile and yielded plentifully. And he considered and gave to his himself, What shall I do? I have no place in which to gather together my house.
Anticipate the next verse.
And he said, I will do this. I will pull down my storehouses and build large ones. And there I will store all my grain of provisions and my goods. And I will say to my soul, you have many good things laid up, enough for many years. But God said to him, You fool, this very night there is a messenger of God will demand your soul of you, and all the things that you have prepared, who will they be? Whose will they be? So it is with the one who continues to lay up and hold possession of himself, and is not rich in his relations to God. This is how we live.
All right, so if we go to our handouts, we want to talk tonight, teach tonight, study tonight, hold on, from the greedy parable. That's what we're going to call it. We're going to call it the greedy parable, all right? The greedy parable. So let's go straight to our slide, Sister Lynn, and let's go to the first one. Now, what have we studied so far? What do you know or remember so far about parables? Quickly. To tell us about ourselves. Huh? Who are you in the parable? How do the parables function? All right? What else? Quickly. It's designed to express or to elicit a response. What else? That's it? must not be doing a very good job. Huh? Specific for the audience. Sit in the seat of the audience. Sit in the seat of the audience. All right? What else? Anything else? Tell me one more thing.
They are illustrations of everyday life.
They are illustrations for everyday life. All right? And what kind of parables are there? Anybody remember? We said that the different kinds. Yes? Different kinds of parables. Metaphors, similes, epigrams. What else? Is it a kind? All right, everybody say the greedy parable. Now, just by reading this parable, what do you know about it, and what do you remember about what you just read? Where would you go? Who's the main character in this parable? The rich man. All right? All right. So talk to us. Talk to us quickly. What do you know? What do you want to say about it? He was bragging on his riches. What else? He was storing up riches. He was thinking about ways to become even more rich.
Riches was his God.
Riches were his
Was his God.
Lord, his Lord. Building them bigger barns. You don't say anything wrong with what he did. He was storing up. Yes. Yes. Next slide. Let's see what we can find. Ready, set, read. Just as it was in antiquity, just as it was in times before, as it is right now, there is always a mad race after wealth. Now, if you were to stop right there, we can do a critique on the rightness or wrongness or the morality of it, the ethic of it. You can do several things, all right? How much is too much? Is there anything such as too much? All of those can be a part of the discussion. How many of us in here would like to be wealthy? How many of us understand what even wealth is? What would be your definition of wealth? What is your understanding of what it means to be wealthy? All right? So my point is, when you read the text, when you read scripture, slow it down, deal with key words, deal with key characters, go back to your notes and flip through some of the questions. I give you about 5 or 7 questions to always ask of the text, or ask of yourself concerning the text, that will help you to excavate, to unearth, to go on an archaeological dig, so to speak, to dig beneath the earth to see what's taking place. And so what we're saying here, one of the things we're saying here, that there's a race to become wealthy. And what happens is that becomes the breeding ground for greed. Now, how would you define greed? Anybody? Always wanting.
Never free to give.
Never
Free to give.
Never free to give. Never satisfied. All right? And this could be in all kinds of areas of life. Any area of life, there is greed. You know, people who are unfaithful in their relationships, there's an element of greed that gives way to infidelity, unfaithfulness, all right? Of a different kind, of a different nature. But it's this notion of this insatiable desire to have more. And the more you have, the more you want, and none of it satisfies. Because it just intensifies your need for more. You follow me? And so the man in the parable, what's his story? What's his story? Come on. He has plenty. On the face of it, nothing is seemingly wrong with having plenty, is it? Or maybe there is something wrong with having plenty.
Anybody in here believes that there's something wrong with having plenty?
It is having plenty without seeking God, because that night, as Jesus said, your soul could be lost.
So having plenty without seeking God is an element. Next slide. Let's see. Ready, set, go.
Greed is about fear.
Say it again.
Greed is about fear.
Greed is about fear.
The fear of lack.
Continue.
The fear of lack of scarcity.
Read it again.
The fear of lack of scarcity.
All right. Greed. So there's this mad race. There's this mad race for wealth, which becomes the breeding ground for greed. It doesn't have to, but it becomes that. And one of the things that greed is about fear. Fear of lack. Isn't it interesting that when you get something, you're always afraid of losing it? It don't even have to be much. When you buy a house or you build a house, when you get a car, whatever the case may be, there's this, when you get a man, when you get a woman, it looks like you automatically begin to think about how you're going to secure it. But it comes from a fear-based place. Lack. Last night we were having dinner, and so I asked Dylan to pray, so Dylan prayed, and I've never heard him pray that prayer before. He thanked God for the food and for daddy and mommy, and then he says, and he tells the Lord, make sure we have some more tomorrow. I said, well, where you get that from? Because he don't normally pray like that. He normally, we all have these kind of routine rote prayers. But somehow he added that piece last night. Make sure we have some for tomorrow. I said to myself, wow. But ain't that the notion with all of us? This sense of, I better hold on to this. I better hold on to him or her or whatever. Whatever it is we fear. There's this fear. Remember the parable, the story in the Old Testament about, who was it, the king who had the dream about the skinny cows and the fat cows? Pharaoh. And what happened to what did the skinny cows do to the fat cows? They eat them. Now you would think it was to be to switch around, right? There's always this notion to lose what you have. There's always this fear. And fear is probably one of the most powerful emotions that resides within us. And it drives us to do all kinds of things that we probably shouldn't be doing. Next slide. Sense of lack. Ready, set, read. Now, this is a very important key about this text. Now, you've got to get this in your spirit. Don't just read it intellectually or cognitively. You got to get this in your spirit. Our life is made secure. Now, this is not what they teach us, not even in church. Because too often the church has adopted the world's understanding of success and wealth and prosperity. And we have said a lot of things from our pulpits that is probably not Bible, or at least it's not Jesus. It's important to get this principle. Security does not come from you trying to get as much as you can. What that does is that it makes you more anxious. And it creates more fear. I don't know how many of you have ever had an opportunity to talk to wealthy people, or not wealthy people, at least people who have some sort of accumulated some sort of wealth, some sort of monies. It's interesting to hear them or to listen to them or to read what they say. What this man, what he does not understand and what he seems to be guided by in the text is that he needs to get as much stuff as he possibly can. Now, you and I attain or ascertain or gain stuff in our own little ways, All we got to do is to walk into our closets. Y'all ain't saying nothing. That's all you got to do. You don't have to go far. And ask yourself the question, why do I have all this stuff? I mean, ask yourself a question right now. Why you got it? Anybody would like to answer? Why do you have 32 shirts? Why do you have 50 dresses or skirts or some variation of its kind? I want somebody to answer me. Tell me. Those who are courageous enough. Huh? One a day. You want to have one a day. That would mean 365. Okay, that's cool. Anybody else? Why do we have it?
Because we don't want to be judged for wearing the same thing more than once.
Because we don't want to be judged for wearing the same thing more than once. And who's doing the judging? And why do we care? No, tell us really. Why does it matter to me that someone sees me in the same suit over and over again? Why does it matter?
Right.
Why does it matter to me?
That you are in love.
Huh?
That you're in love, like you're not financially secure, you cannot afford another one.
Like I lack, like I can't afford another one, like I'm not financially secure. Like I cheat. And the point is this: whatever our reasons are, when you take a good inquisitive look at the reason that we're given for why we're doing what we're doing, chances are it doesn't hold any water. It really doesn't really matter. It really doesn't matter. There's some wealthy people. I remember one gentleman in particular who I got really close to when I passed. One gentleman that in particular who I looked at and who I first met, I would have never thought by the way he looked, because what? The world has already given me a picture of what it's supposed to look like. And we are forever trying to fit in that picture. How many of you, women and or men, has ever walked by in a mall or walked by the store and see the mannequin? Especially if you walk by one of those, what you call them women store, lingerie?
Right up.
Victoria's Secrets. Right? How many of you ever walk by there and either say, as a woman, that's me, or that's what I want, and or a man, that's what I like to see my other half in? And what is the truth about what's on the mannequin? More often than not, you ain't never gonna look like that. Now, there are, I want you to understand this. Because somebody may say, well, I'm going to look better than that, and you may be very right. But the point is, because there are some of you who will look better than what's on the mannequin. But what they're selling you is a fantasy.
True.
That's my point. And you will never be satisfied until you buy what I'm selling. So next year, not even next year, next season, I'm going to have something else. Oh my God, I feel like teaching right through here. Because you see, when you make some decisions in your own mind, especially financially, and then you go to the mall, you fly to Miami or Orlando, and you go by Sawgrass, or you go to Aventura, or you go to whatever the high-end mall is in that city, and you walk by, and listen, I want to tell you something. No matter how good the skirt, the dress, the shoes look, there will always be another pair of shoes that's going to look even better next season. So it's what lies within you that's going to determine whether or not you go and you fall and you purchase the fantasy. Yes?
I just repeated what you said. Purchase the fantasy.
You purchase the fantasy.
But that is seasonal.
And it's a seasonal.
Because it's seasonal, that's for that season.
That's for that season.
Isn't that something that is because of when we were small, we didn't have enough of we
Absolutely. So all of that is a part of it. We always, when we were small, we didn't have much or nothing. That's the story for some people. Now we have the ability to get, and so we do it. So I'm saying to us, there are many reasons, and the reasons we have might be very well legitimate reasons, but you have to be careful even what road legitimate reasons take you on. That's what it boils down to. So it's not to make a judgment or a critique about wrong or right about what it is that you're doing. It's to say, though, if I stay on this road, am I going to like the destination it's going to take me to? That's one of the questions in the parable. A life is made secure not by amassing things. Now here's the kicker, here's the stinger, but by triumphing over the things. You have to have triumph. You have to overcome the things where the things don't matter. I don't know about you, but I think anyway, I have better seasons than others, where you get to the place in your life where the stuff don't matter. I love our home, but at the end of the day, and we're going to enjoy it while we're in it, but at the end of the day, what really matters is my relationship with Chauncey and Dylan. And the fact that we have a home and we enjoy, okay, that adds something. But it don't matter. And especially, it doesn't matter if you ain't prepared to share it with nobody. Now, only 2 people got that. I mean, it really doesn't. No matter how fine a suit you put on or fine a dress you put on, you put it on not only for you to look at, you put it on for somebody else to look at. Y'all ain't saying nothing. You imagine what they will think when they see you. That's a good place to say amen. And that goes back, I think, to Sister Angelpa. Why does it matter to you what somebody else thinks? I'm not going to deal with all of that part tonight, but there it is, because that's a driving force. That's the thing that motivates a lot of us to do some things that we probably wouldn't ordinarily do if we didn't care what nobody else thought. Or it didn't matter in the same way that we think it really should matter. All right?
So, Pastor Carter,
so you got...
So if every time like you Pastor Barrett have one message, I said, Pastor Barrett, you look good today. And next week he said, you'll meet Miss Freeman up, so she'd always giving me compliments. That's a reason too?
Yeah, maybe. Repeat after me. I got to triumph. Repeat after me. I must triumph over things. That's where the victory is. Next slide. Read, please. Ready, set, read. Stop right there. The man in the text, and now here's where you and I also come in. Now, because remember, when you see the text, you see the persons in the text. There's the picture. The picture then should turn into a mirror, because not only must you now see who the people are in the text, you must begin to see who do you look like in the text, who do you have an affinity to in the text, where do you fit in the text. So the picture becomes a mirror. The mirror becomes a window, and then you see God, because ultimately that's where all the parables are leading you, to have a new vision of God. Everybody, you with me? So first, say picture. Everybody say picture. Mirror. Window. God. That's the path. All right? You see the character, because stories are powerful, because a picture is worth 1,000 words. People remember pictures. All right? So the prodigal son, the lost sheep, the lost coin, this man, you remember those stories. Most people in church have never read these stories for themselves, but they've heard them so many times, they know the story because they remember the picture. All right? They can tell you something about it. All right? So in the text, this man, even if he had what I call, I don't know how many of you all remember last week, what we call orthodoxy. Even if he believed the right thing, he was living the wrong thing. Now that's a good place to park the car for a minute because that is all of our challenge. Is it not? It ain't that most of us don't have right belief. It's our behavior inconsistent with our belief. It's not that most of us don't have right orthodoxy, it's that our orthopraxy is off. So even if this man believed the right thing, he lived the lie. And do you know something? You can become comfortable living the lie. Oh, God, tonight, I'm at the wrong church. Does not conduct itself like a fucking man at the fantasy. You done forgot yourself. It's like being in a relationship. You surprised when it didn't go nowhere. About Christians. The lie. What was the lie? For the you could have attained everything. Shaped around attaining goods and services. Our whole lives are shaped that way. The world system is set up that way. We wake up in the morning tomorrow because our lives have been shaped that way. To go to a work, whether we are employed or self-employed, to work a certain amount of hours, if we want to see a certain amount of production, to produce a certain amount of goods or services, to achieve a certain in return back. Our lives are designed that way. So it's very difficult to escape some of what we see Jesus attempts to teach us in these parables, because the very construct in which we live is designed for you to get stuff, lose stuff, get some more stuff, lose that stuff, buy some more stuff, try to hold that stuff so you won't lose no more stuff, get some more stuff, and then you fool around, and before you know it, you're 60, or you're 50, or you're whatever, and it's time to die. In the course of it, you get married, you get kids, you spend your 18 years with all of your efforts, all of your energies for the kids. You start working for the kids. You say the only reason I'm doing this is for the kids. If it weren't for these kids, our systems are designed that way. And for some of us, even after they've left our house, you're still working for them. You're still trying to do what? Secure them. You're still trying to build a future for them. And now we tell ourselves, it ain't even for us, because if it was just for me, I would quit this job and go find some little thing to do, sit on the beach with a short pants on and a t-shirt and don't do nothing. Because it tires, it wears all of us out at one point or another. What we're trying to do, we're trying to keep up with the very same people who are tired of the same thing. And no matter how much we teach this, and no matter how much we preach this, we like the man in the text, we ain't gonna live it. Because it's gonna call for a radical reconstruction about how we live our daily lives. The very way in which we live our daily lives. It is why we critique communities, that's right. They try to shift. We buck that. Next slide. I want to go to, well, let me not jump. Yeah. Ready, set, read. Just put that in there. This is applicable just to the man in the text. This is applicable to our territory. This is applicable to any so-called first world countries who just amass wealth, and then amassing wealth after they gain greater military, and then you set up your own powers and your own system, and you begin to control the world. You imagine some little island on some little waters somewhere out in Europe end up ruling the world for almost, how long did the United Kingdom so-called rule the world? You gotta ask yourself the question, how is it that an island nation ends up with such a domination system that even to this day, you and I live under a domination system. How is that possible? Next slide. I'm not going to deal with that much tonight. Your life, get this, because I know some of us think that it does. But part of what this parable is teaching us is that your life does not belong to you. We behave that way, but it does not. You and I, at best, are stewards. We have been entrusted with some time that we call life, but it ain't ours. No matter how rich you become, it still ain't yours. The poor man, the pauper, and the rich man, when it comes to this thing called life, it will merge. When you become a Christian, when you commit yourself to the service of God in any meaningful way, or a commune or whatever, your life is not yours. Your life is not yours. And too many of us behave as though our lives is ours. So we want to do whatever we want to do, whenever we want to do, to whomever we want to do it to. Because it's ours. And some of us have so much nerve and so much audacity and so much gall. Not only do we believe that our lives are ours, we also believe that your life is ours. Teach, Pastor Klein. I'm going to tell you how this is how far we have gone from anything Jesus teaches. This is what our egos have projected on into the future somewhere that makes us believe. One, do you know, in when was that, 1850, whatever it was, when they prosecuted Galileo for discovering that the earth was not, or saying the earth wasn't flat. In essence, that's what he was saying. And the Roman Catholic Church damned that man, excommunicated him, labeled him a heretic, put him out because he discovered something about a truth that they believed and was always saying that wasn't true no more. The church, you know what they couldn't get past? They could not get past the fact that he was telling them that the earth and all the other planets were revolving around the sun, and that the sun was not revolving around the earth, because we had come to believe that we were the center of the universe. As a matter of fact, we still believe that we are the center of the universe. That's why you behave the way you do, because you believe you're it. You're the center. And when I say you now, I'm talking about the universal you, us as human beings. And God knows that we have advanced in a multiplicity of ways. God knows that we have done some amazing things. But I want you to get the principle. As the man of this text needs to get, your life is not yours. And when you come to realize that your life ain't yours, maybe you'll stop trying to handle and manage me as though I belong to you. That's why we always teaching and preaching. They're always mangled. We always can't get along with. Y'all can say amen. Your life don't belong to you. Question begs to be asked, then who does it belong? Go to the next. It is the attitude of the absurdity of anxiety that Jesus, I should have found a better way to say it. I've been falling asleep right there. What you call that? A little. What Jesus challenges is the absurdity of anxiety. Drop the word attitude for now. Okay. The Bible says, be anxious for nothing. He said on another occasion. Ain't that what he said? What's driving this man, you got to see it, is the attitude of anxiety. He's just anxious. Most of us are going to die not because of what we think we're going to die from. We're going to die from anxiety. The thing at the end of the road ain't going to kill us. It's what we think that's at the end of the road that's going to kill us. Yeah. The man believes he's alive until he realizes he's dead. So it is the absurdity of anxiety that Jesus is challenging, not a responsible attempt to provide for the future. So I want you to get that as well, because I don't want you to get irrational. Understand? Cure something for the future. That's not. I'm getting small. Number 5, or next slide. The points that you can pull out before you can face scenes, all right? What does he see right now? Go back to the verse. Can you pull up the verses real quick? No, go to the next verse. Slide number 6. Now this, all right? Number 6. The man's challenge, aggressive pronoun, is what you and I are delivered in my soul. I will say, tomorrow, how narcissistic. So to your point, I don't have time for it tonight, but I don't have what they need. And you say, the point, our lives are designed around that puts superior and inferior at the same page because you're a man's world. As a matter of fact, because of your femaleness, according to is with his stuff. His stuff trumps that. He was addressing that one is real problem. The stuff that we're dealing with, we're supposed to be dealing with. That's that problem. He got time problem. 3. Now, get pregnant, then that baby becomes a part of the system so that the hospital, they got lights to turn on, they got toilets to flush, then that got to get an apartment, then she got to do what she got to do, and then he becomes even greater within himself. It's about me. I can service these women. So it becomes a part of the male domination system. I can get cheap labor. I can build my wealth because I can pay you nothing. How you think we're going to get to heaven? Let's go. I dare say if we don't change some of the ways in which we live, not just individually, no. So when I say you, I don't mean just you individually. It starts with us. But if we don't understand the systems in which we live and begin to be countercultural to the system, then you'll become the system. And you will do what the world has always done. Take advantage of the less fortunate. So there we have it. What are you playing? Nothing in particular? What was that song? Which one is it? Tomorrow is the day of prayer. Okay, good. Sing one line of that and we out of here.
Where would I be?
If that's what it is.
Only you know. I'm glad you see through eyes of love a hopeless case, an empty place, if not for grace. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. I once was lost, but now I'm found. A hopeless case,
Father, we thank you for your word, even when it comes not to comfort us, but to disturb us. So may we be wholly disturbed until we come to live a little different. Bless your people, this ministry, our bishop. Cause us to go deeper into higher and higher. In Jesus' name. Amen. Greet your neighbor as you go out. Have a good night's rest. May the peace of God be yours.
Your old life has faded. Your new day is here. Your new life exists without shame, guilt, or fear.